In this video, we are going to discuss about chapter 4, in paper 1, child psychology. So I'll give you a small recap of what we have discussed in first three chapters. In first three chapters of child psychology, we studied what is psychology. Psychology means studying one's behavior. Child psychology means studying children's behavior. Who are children? Children are who are belonging to the category of 0 to 18. This entire 0 to 18 is being subcategorized into three groups. The first group is called infancy, the second group is called childhood, the third group is called adolescence. In infancy, we will discuss their growth patterns, their physical development, mental development, um, mind maturity, aesthetic development, etc., etc., from the age of 0 to 6 months. And this 0 to 6 is very important when compared to that of the next stages called childhood and adolescence. And we are again the teachers of this particular age group of 0 to 6. Then childhood, ma'am, in 0 to 6, what is very important, they say, that is what are the important factors that helps the children to grow are, that is to successfully grow, are mother's love, affection, care, food, and sleep, ma'am. So these are very, very important. Now coming to childhood, what are the factors that are very important for the appropriate development of childhood is, this again food, of course. And then the second here is as that of the parents' affection, it is also the peer interaction is very important. Peer interaction means அதே age group +3 or -3. Adula the child has to interact with same age children, ma'am, more or less +3 or -3 age group with that children. The child should get an opportunity to mingle with such children. When the child gets an opportunity to mingle with such children, then there is an opportunity for the normal or appropriate development or the optimum development of childhood to take place. See, ma'am, these developmental stages, no, ஒரு developmental stagesலயும் நல்ல ஒரு appropriate development ஏற்பட்டாதான் the child can become a matured person, or the child can become a enter a proper stage of adulthood in later years. So that is very important, they say. The last stage is called adolescence, ma'am, in children. So adolescence is 12 to 18. This is where, their sexual organs get developed. The children attends puberty. They tend to develop completely with whatever gender they are, either it is a girl or a boy. And they also develop the sense of curiosity to understand the opposite gender, or they at times they get attracted to the opposite gender, and these are all very natural things that happens in adolescence now. So this is what we studied, and we discussed why are we studying all these things, because for us to understand the children properly, once we understand them, we can teach them properly, we can conduct tests properly, we can select the study materials properly, etc., etc. We discussed, and so it is very important. What are the things we are going to study in each and every group, ma'am? In each and every stage, we are going to study the physical development, mental development, aesthetic development, moral development, and at last is social development. So these are the developments we are going to study under each and every stage, ma'am. So how was education before and after the development of psychology? They say when compared to the other subjects like science, maths, history, geography, the psychology is a newly developing subject. It is not very old as that of the other traditional subjects. It is only 50 to 100 years old, ma'am. And so only there are many changes happening in the field of education. Earlier, before making in-depth study in psychology, they believed that rigorous punishments and severe disciplinary measures only make the children grow very well in the adulthood. Very well, they will express in adulthood. But later, they felt psychology believed that, or after conducting many experiments, psychology is telling, no, it is not so. You should not force the children into anything that will not give you a very positive outcome in later years. Only when children are taught with enough freedom and in a friendly way, that only helps the children to give a very great output in the later years. And that is why now the educational patterns are getting changed, including the environment, their paint color, their furniture. Everything gets changed, which seems to be very attractive, not towards the teacher, but to the children. So now, slowly, schools are becoming child friendly, and it is always, centered towards the children and not the teachers. So things are getting changed, ma'am. Why? Because we believe that making such changes in this particular years will give a positive output or outcome to the children in their later years. So considering children's bright future, we are giving a great amount of freedom in present scenario, ma'am. And what else did we study in? And we also discussed about um, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, so on, ma'am. So what are motor skills? Motor skills are nothing but the movement, muscle movements. Gross motor skills means bigger muscle movements like arms and legs. Fine motor skills means moving the fingers. So always remember, ma'am, motor skills are directly connected towards your brain. So when the children think a lot, when you give them exercises a lot to their brain, their muscular movements become very easier. So, but we do know how to develop their uh, brain, how to give exercises to their brain, and so we can make the child to move here and there. So once moving their body, arms and legs, naturally, not only their muscles get stronger, but along their muscles, it is also the brain gets sharpened, it seems, because the muscle coordination, the nerves from the muscles are connected to the brain. So to strengthen the brain, you can strengthen their muscles as well. So when we give some practices to their muscular movements, indirectly it strengthens the brain as well, they say now. And here the brain has two hemispheres, right and left hemispheres. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. So if you want your brain to be sharp in both the sides, right and left side, always make sure that you give equal work to right as well as the left side of your body. So generally, most of them who are right-handed people tend to use their right hands more, 80 percentage more when compared to that of left hand. So if you give 50 percentage work in right hand and 50 percentage in left hand, your brain also functions in a balanced way. Remember, that is both side of the hemispheres functions in a balanced way. And if your child is a left hand child, they ask you whether it's of great concern. It is not so, because equal halves of the brain are responsible. So if you're right-handed, means naturally your left side of the brain is very sharper, and if you're left-handed, means your right side of the brain will be much sharper now. So this is how it is. So we need not worry about it. But culturally, considering culture, it is better, even if you're a left-handed person, teach the children to eat with their right hand, so that in social places, they don't get shunned away, seeing them using their left hand. Now coming to chapter 4, ma'am. So what we did so far, what did we study, ma'am? That there are three stages of development, so on, etc., etc. Here they say, for a child to become a mature person, it is not only the child should have appropriate development in infancy, childhood, and adolescence. Even there are certain factors which are very, very important in even during the time of pregnancy, it seems. So the pregnancy is the 9 months of pregnancy. In 9 months of pregnancy, there are certain factors playing for the development of the children. And if those factors are not very well utilized, the child's, even, it will hamper not only the physical development, but it might hamper the mental development as well. For us to understand what is this gestational period? Gestational period means 9 months of pregnancy. What are all things that happens within the body, and how these things, how these factors impact the development of the child inside our womb. So these things we are going to study in chapter 4, ma'am. So this video is only considering chapter 4, that is characteristics of newly born infant. So to understand the characteristics of newly born infant, first let us learn, that is, begin from maturation, ma'am. So what is maturation? So maturation, you have to understand, ma'am, for our cell to function properly, we contain chromosomes, and inside chromosomes we have DNAs, and the DNA contains the genetic material with all the information, necessary information, and that information only controls our body map. So this chromosomes, DNA, genetic material, all is everything is present within the nucleus of a cell. So each and every cell of our body have genetic material that controls the our body. Controls means that functions our body. See, it is not all the functions of our body are determined by us. Very few things only are we determined. The rest, digestion, absorption, the growth, everything is be determined automatically within our body. So who gives them orders? It is the genetic material. It is the information present within the genetic material. So for all this information, for all this function to happen properly, we require 46 pairs of chromosomes. So these chromosomes are small structures like butterflies which are present within our cell nucleus. Within this chromosome only DNA will be present. அப்போ மொத்தமா எத்தனை chromosome வேணுமா? 46 pairs of chromosomes are required, they say. So in the 46 chromosomes, if it is one extra or one less, again the child cannot develop into a normal person, ma'am. They become mentally retarded persons. அப்படி நம்ம சொல்லலாம். அப்போ எல்லாருக்கும் எவ்வளவு கரெக்டா வேணுமா? 46 pairs of chromosomes are required. இதுல before fertilization to happen அப்படின்னா நம்ம பாடி என்ன பண்ணுது? So we are giving a copy for our child, இல்லையா? So in that copy we are giving cell. So in that cell, that copy of our cell could know that female cells, that cell from the female, that cell will have only 23 chromosomes and not 46. Likewise, male is also giving a copy of his genes to his child. Adleyume vandu instead of 46 there will be only 23. That 23 and the female's 23 will merge together and 46, and that is how a new child is being born. So the child will have 46, and that is why we cannot take now research is going on in taking a cell from our hair, from a male hair and the female hair, and that cell, if you are merging together, will it become a new fertilization can happen? No, it cannot happen, because that cell will have 46 chromosome. The male hair cell will have 46. So any part of your body, you are taking a cell that will contain 46 pairs of chromosome. So you have to cut down that 46 into half, 23. So cutting down in lab is not possible, and so cells can be taken only from the sexual organs. So that is the male reproduction organ and female reproduction organ. So male reproduction organ, you know, it is through the sperms. So sperms contain 23 pairs of chromosomes, and in female it is the uterus. From uterus the eggs are produced. These eggs contain 23 pairs of chromosomes. So these 23, when they fertilize together, we get 46 chromosomes, and a new cell is emerged, and that cell get multiplied into numerous cell, and a new life is emerged, and that is what. So for this to happen, first என்ன வந்து mature ஆகணும்? The male sex organ should mature and female sex organ should mature. Male sex organ mature ஆகுதுன்னா, then production of sperms should happen. Healthier sperm should happen. India production of healthier eggs should happen. In male வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, at a time multiple crores of sperms are produced, whereas in female it is only one egg is produced per month, ma'am. We have two ovaries on either side of our uterus, right hand side and left hand side. In 1 month, left hand side, one egg is being produced. The next month, left hand side ovary will take rest. Right hand side ovary will produce one egg. So alternata, we produce only one egg per month. But it is not so in case of a male. Numerous multiple crores and crores of sperms are produced in one ejaculation. Okay, ma'am. Okay, now coming to this is what is maturation is. The reproductive organ should get matured. What is ovulation, ma'am? Ovulation means our ovary gets matured and starts producing eggs. India on what they say abdina, there are totally 30,000 eggs are present, ma'am. When a baby girl is born, that baby girl's uterus contains 30,000 eggs. that from the 30,000 eggs, one egg, the very first egg gets matured at the time of puberty, say 10 years to 13 years. That age, the child attains puberty. During that period, the first egg gets matured, and then periodically every month one egg will get matured. So at that time, when the egg is being matured, that maturation will remain for that period is called ovulation. So that matured egg can remain mature only for 3 days. So within the 3 days, fertilization should happen. A sperm should meet. If the sperm is meeting, then fertilization will happen. So only 3 days that is possible, ma'am. Then what will happen? If the fertilization is not happening, that egg will slowly decay or rupture, and then we have menstrual bleeding. So that happens at the end. Then our uterus gets cleaned along with that. One inner lining gets washed away along with that bleeding. And next month, again, this process is repeated. New egg is formed, a new egg is matured. The new egg waits for a sperm. If sperm is not coming, that also decays. Then that decay is removed. The decayed egg will get removed in menstrual bleeding. So this is our regular process happening. Now, stages of prenatal development. Stages of prenatal development means, now we discussed if fertilization is not happening, we undergo menstrual bleeding. What about fertilization has happened? Before, I told you earlier, this matured egg remains only for 3 days, mature ovum. Through that ovum, a sperm gets in contact. So I told you there are rows and rows of multiple rows of sperm comes. Though there are multiple rows of sperm is coming, only one sperm can enter one egg. So this egg has all rights to choose which sperm it likes. So the most liked sperm will give an opportunity to enter into the cell wall of the egg. Once it enters, the cell wall becomes extremely thick so that no other sperm can enter. What is the opportunity for twins, ma'am? At the very same time itself, two sperms will enter the same time. So this is one possibility of twins. There is another possibility of twins, and this, when two sperms enter the egg at the very same time, they produce non-identical twins. So two babies will be there, but they will be non-identical. In case of identical twins, only one sperm is entered, but after entering, that sperm gets split into two, and it also, after getting two, each and every half, that half will become a one complete child, and that is called identical twins. So race sperm nala rendu child vandangana, it is an identical twin. Non-identical twin na, two sperms enters the same egg, but chances are very, very slim for that to happen. Then that is considered as non-identical twins. Let's say one sperm enters the ovum, and fertilization has happened. But this fertilization, where it happens, it happens at the upper part of the uterus. So upper part of the uterus, it has to move to the middle part of the uterus. So this moving from upper part to lower part after the fertilization, it takes 7 days of time. So it is slowly, it moves, it floats and come, and it gets attached to the middle part of the uterus. And this attachment, how it attaches, ma'am? It attaches with the help of a small tube, and that tube only in later years gets developed, later stages, it gets developed into umbilical cord. So full nourishment is given to the child only after 7 days, only when it attaches to the middle part of the uterus. Aduk munadi, there won't be great development, ma'am. The cell, minute cell will be developing. Appo nourishment eppadi kedaikuduna, it gets the nourishment by means of egg yolk, which is present within the egg. So by 7 days, that egg yolk will get over. So it is under the compulsion, it has to attach itself to the uterus. Once it attaches itself to the uterus, our blood will give them all the required nourishment to the child. The child then develops in a very rapid way. So the first stage is called fertilization, preparation of that ovulation period. Egg is produced, egg gets slowly matured, and it enters a stage called ovulation, where the 3 days it will be fully mature. That is called preparation stage. In this fully mature time, in the 3 days, that sperm has to come. Once the sperm comes and fertilizes, it has to implant in the middle part of the uterus. It takes 7 days for this implantation. After this implantation happens, the cell now multiplies very rapidly. It enters a stage called embryo. So embryo, no, one cell வந்து இப்போ ஒரு ball of cells, ஒரு mass of cells, ஒரு ball மாதிரி clump it develops, ma'am. So at the end of 1.5 months, we call this as an embryo. After 1.5 months, this embryo will develop all organs like small heart, small lungs, everything in minute structures, very very small. And that when it gives shape to the body, when the child's body, it is called as fetus. Generally this development of fetus happens in the third month, ma'am. So third month nalla pathina, a small structure of a baby is formed within our womb, and that is called fetus. Then what happens, ma'am? Fourth month onwards, the size of the fetus gets developed. Every develop body, weight, head, face, skin, hair, trunk, arms and legs, toes and fingers, internal organs, heart, glands, everything. And that is why they say at the end of third month, we can even generally it is not performed in our country, but we can understand whether the gender also, the sexual organ also gets developed at the age of 3 months, ma'am. The nerve system, brain, sensory organ, taste, smell, eyes, ears, skin, fetal activity, so and so gets developed, starts getting developed from third month onwards, ma'am. So for all this, what is important, ma'am? Mother's rest, food, her emotions play a very, very important role in the development of the child inside the womb. Now, once all developments is over, what happens in 9th month? Delivery happens. Now, delivery happens. After the delivery, two main development happens, they say. That is called the period of parchinate and period of neonate. What is parchinate, ma'am? Parchinate means now the child has come out of the mother's body. The child is not inside the mother's womb. It has come out either through C-section or natural delivery. The child has come out. Soon after coming, they will cut the umbilical cord. Now the child has come out, but the umbilical cord has not been cut. It will take or 5 to 10 minutes. That period is called period of parchinate, they say. So even these are very important factors. That is, the time given to cut the umbilical cord is very, very important. That's important. Once the child come out, the child should adjust the environment temperature, because our body temperature in all conditions, in summer, winter, autumn, in all seasons, our body temperature within the womb remains the same. What is our body temperature, ma'am? 37.1 something. So that always remains the same inside the womb. But as the child comes out after the delivery, if it is January, it will be extremely cold in India. What about in April, May, extremely hot in India. So it changes in there. So from that 37 to sometimes, summer would be 40 degrees. Up 38, 39, 40, there's 3 degrees, the child has to adjust at it. It depends. Midnight afternoon evenings. So what time the child is being delivered. So that again plays a very important role. So there is a sudden shock in the environment regarding to the temperature. So the child has to get adjusted towards it. So give some time, they say, for about 5 to 10 minutes. Within 5 to 10 minutes, if the child shows a great zeal of adjustment. What is that adjustment, ma'am? If the child is not being adjusted towards that temperature, the child will develop seizures and die. So if the child is not developing any seizures and the child seems to be normal even after 10 minutes in this environment, then they will cut the umbilical cord. Because why, ma'am? Then another changes the child has to, another adjustment the child should undergo. What are the other adjustments? After the adjustment in environment, only by means of umbilical cord, the child breathe, ma'am. That is, inside the womb, the child is not using its nose to breathe. Instead, the child uses the dissolved oxygen present in the mother's blood. So that blood is being traveled through umbilical cord. Uh, from that only oxygen is absorbed. Not directly, the child will not use the nose. But after coming out, once the umbilical cord is cut, oxygen support is now being cut. Now the child has to inhale with the help of their nose for the oxygen. So that is again a second shock for the child. Now I cannot breathe. What happened? That suffocation, what the child does not know what to do. So the child starts crying. That is why soon after birth the child cries. The child cries because the child suffocates without oxygen. So once the child cries, opening its mouth, the oxygen enters inside the lungs. After that, the child feels okay, now it is comfortable. The child learns, okay, taking a deep breath by means of mouth or the nose regularly, we will get oxygen. The child learns the first modification in that. Now, after some time, the child now feels hungry. So long, the child is not using its mouth. Whenever mother has a food, naturally that essence, that nourishment enters the child's also by means of umbilical cord. Now also the child is not using its mouth or tongue inside the womb, but directly the nutrients enters the child's abdomen too as the mother eats. But now it is not so. That is not going to happen because the umbilical cord has been cut. So hereafter, now child first time, the child feels very hungry. Now what happens? The child has to eat. Again, the child cries. Then we feed the child with the milk. The child feels okay, fine. The child seems to be happy, hunger has gone. Then the child learns, okay, whenever we are hungry, we have to cry. They will give something uh, to satisfy our hunger. So by means of drinking the milk, so we have to use our mouth. The child learns. The next one more modification the child has to make, that is modification here means adaptation, you can say. So what is the last adaptation? The child has to make his excretion. So long the child will not be using his excretory organ to excrete. Again, the waste materials will be collected by means of the umbilical cord and by means of bloodstream, and that waste materials will be filtered with the help of the mother's intestines and so on. The child intestines are not in use in the womb, but after coming out, now mother's intestine will not help, so the child has to adapt that. So excretory organs, the child has to excrete by itself by using its own excretory organ. So these are the four main adaptations the child should make. When these four adaptations are made by the child itself without any great help from the external factors, the child's mental development will be very good. But if the child cannot learn these adaptations, it required some help and assistance. Assistance means the child is unable to breathe. So what happens when oxygen support is given for first 2 or 3 days? Now the child cannot adjust the environment. The child will be kept inside the incubator for 1 or 3 days. The child cannot feed. Now drips will be given for the child. Likewise, some assistance is given to the child. Means the child, it takes a longer time for the child to get mature in the later years, it seems. If there is no assistance, the child's adaptation are all made by the child itself, then the child's maturity will be much sharper, they say. So பாருங்க, சின்ன சின்ன factors கூட birth அப்ப இருக்கிற அந்த factors எல்லாம் கூட it plays a very important role in child's maturity, they say. So with this, chapter number 4 is over, ma'am. Next we will move on to chapter number 5 in next recording.